Hey, what's up? It is E. Davis, CEO of Writer's Block Publishing LLC, and I am coming to you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Today it's Sunday. It's snowing outside, so if you're out and about in Pittsburgh, please drive safe and keep warm. As mentioned, I am the CEO of Writer's Block Publishing LLC. So do me a favor and subscribe to my channel for me. You can find us at writersblockpublishingllc.com. That's the website. On Instagram at Writers Block Publishing LLC, Facebook Writers Block Publishing LLC. You can send me an email saying, "Hey girl," at writersblockpub at yahoo.com, and of course Twitter at Block Publish. And just so you know, I do have a blog called Writers Block at Writers Block 1984 on WordPress. So check that out. I do blog daily. I like to put them little giffies on there, trying to make it fun. I discuss writing techniques as far as creative writing, plot development, character development, storyline. Also, I like to focus on positive words for each day. Monday is Momentum Monday. Tuesday is Tackle Tuesday. Wednesday is Wonderful Wednesday. Thursday is Touchdown Thursday. Friday is Focus Friday. Saturday is Spectacular Saturday. And last but not certainly least is Sunday, which is Steel Sunday. STEL. Just the big ups and a shout out to the Steel City, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So today is March 3rd, March 3rd, 2019. And I would like to discuss with you the concept of celebrating women, because it is March and it is National Women's Month. We celebrate the awesomeness of strong women, far as leadership, far as political, far as writing, far as TV, such as the Queen Oprah. Any woman that has made some type of contribution to benefit society, far as her children's concerned, is to be celebrated in my book. Also, because this is a writing platform, I like to discuss today a strong female character. And I had to think, because there's so many strong female characters, but one character that I like to stand out, that I would like to stand out, is the awesome Maleficent. Now you're like, what? Are you serious? Yes, because if you have not, of course, seen the movie, or if you remember her in the Sleeping Beauty movie line, we see this evil woman that casts a spell on this beautiful princess when she was a baby, and when she turns 16, she gets her finger pricked and she sleeps forever and ever until the handsome prince wakes her up, and the rest is all right with the world. But we don't know the backstory of Maleficent and why she has such a grudge. So that also helps. So this, we're going to discuss her character development and as to why there's such a grudge. Now, of course, I read this book before the movie came out. I remember this movie came out starring Angelina Jolie, and she is an awesome actress. I said, wow, this is going to be something intriguing, something fun. But I had to read the book first, because that's just the type of person I am. I always have to read the book first, and then when I see the movie, I like to see how everything comes to life in a movie. Now, we do know that the book is, of course, always better, but there is that one exception, that one occasion where the movie is just equally as good. So if you have not taken the time to read this book, you can always find it on Amazon. You can find it at your local bookstore. Just, it's not even long. It's maybe, if you're a reader, it's almost 300 pages. That's not long if you're a reader. If you're not a reader, then it's just do a chapter at a time, because it's really like that. So it is more so a children's book, or if you want to consider a children's chapter book, something you can read with your kids. It's not wicked, it's not Halloweenish. It's just the concept of how Maleficent came to be. And how she came to be was, she was a fairy. She was a very beautiful fairy. She had awesome parents, and they actually died in, I guess, what you call like a fairy war between the humans. And Maleficent grew up. She wasn't bitter. I have no parents. I hate the world. She just grew up. She loved the people around her. She had, of course, the constant support, in the event that a tragedy happens. And then she meets a human kid. And as her and this kid bond, she does like him, but she does know that there's differences. So that could piggyback on race relations. Like there's a lot of people say black people won't date white people and white people won't date black people. It's like you're cool to be friends with, but as far as dating or making a life together, I just don't know. But then, of course, we do see in society where we are blending the races, we are coming together as one. But there's always that this one section who just doesn't feel that way, and that's okay to have their beliefs because this is what was going on in Maleficent's world. So then, as she got older, she became stronger. She had the big wings and the with the really cool horns, and then she ended up seeing this kid again, and he got older, and he was a peasant boy who would love to be in a position of power, who would love to be looked upon as the king, that where they could just look at me and see me. So before you know it, he start making friends with her, and then but the fairies were stronger. So anytime the humans would try to attack the fairyland, you got the leader in this army, Maleficent. She wouldn't let anything happen. This king was like, you have to find a way to get rid of her. You have to find a way to defeat her. This kid, what he ended up doing is he ended up using Maleficent, and while she slept, he took her wings. And that was one of her most powerful defenses. And he gave the king the wings, which then forced him to be allowed him, not forced, allowed him to be king. But because he was so dirty on how he became king, he lived in a life of constant paranoia. And then this caused Maleficent to be bitter and angry. So she built this wall up against all fairyland, and she saved this raven from being tormented and eaten by wolves. And so this raven became her wings. So then when she found out that this new evil king was getting married and having children, we all know hell has no fury. Okay, that's when she goes to the baptismal or the presentation of the baby, and she puts that curse where at the age of 16, on her 16th birthday, she's going to prick her finger. She's going to sleep eternally. And then the king and the queen was begging her, please don't do this, don't do this. And she says, well, she should be awakened by the kiss of her one true love. And that was payback for how that king treated Maleficent. He led her to believe that he liked her. He led her to believe that they could be together. And that's what that was, bitterness. So we see the character of bitterness. We see her angry, we see her bitter, and she's just enraged. And she has this not only a physical wall around that fairyland, but she has an emotional wall. And so the king, next thing you know, the king has his baby, and he has fairies watching this baby off in a faraway land, further away from this fairyland, and he has stored up all of the sewing wheels, the sewing needles, in fear that this curse just may come to pass. And as the fairies raised up the baby, known as Aurora, they were kind of goofy, kind of weird. They didn't know how to take care of kids. So that raven, he would somehow manage to take care of the baby in a very subtle way, and Maleficent would watch as an observer in the background. So one would ask, well, why is she watching? And she doesn't like the baby because she wants to make sure that her curse will come to pass. And curiosity sometimes doesn't kill the cat. You just want to make sure that things happen as planned. And what happens? The baby kind of notices Maleficent, kind of hangs around her, and her guard is so up. She does not want nothing to do with the baby. But of course, when it comes to a baby, you can't resist that baby. You got to cuddle it, coo with it, and all those little things like that. So next thing you know, as the girl grows older into a beautiful teenager, and she speaks to Maleficent, she says, "You're my godmother." You're like, "What? I did not set out. I did not put a curse on your life to be your fairy godmother." That's absolute. When I read that, I laughed so hard because that was not the plan. But the baby was so, or the baby, this young lady, this young princess was so innocent and saw beauty in everything. Who else would this creature be that's always watching behind? has to be her godmother. And so, as Maleficent kept her guard up and she kept watch, she allowed Aurora into her world, into her fairyland, where she got to meet all the different cute little creatures. And she interacted with them and she played with them. So, Maleficent, her wall, her like an onion, each layer was beginning to peel. Maybe there's maybe she's not so bad. That's another character. Maybe Aurora is just not so bad. And maybe I was wrong to put a curse on somebody who really can't help who the parents are. So what she does is she tries to break the curse, but she can't. So what she does now is in the attempt of trying to get her to live with her in her fairy world. The young lady turns 16. She tells her little fairies that raised her, and the fairies that raised her had to tell her about the curse. And they even told her who did it. Like, are you serious? Are you serious? Yes. And the plot thickens. So now she goes to Maleficent and said, is this true? Did you put a curse on me? Maleficent had to own up to it. She had to own up to that confession. And when she owned up to that confession, Aurora was so upset. She cried. She ran away. She went to the castle where she was born at. Her father, still living in paranoia, surrounded by gates and metal. Because one fact I failed to mention is that Maleficent could not take metal on her skin. So all that metal that was surrounding the castle was a type of defense to keep her away, because that was one of her flaws. That was one of her weaknesses. So she went to the castle. She said hello to her father, and what happened? She's led into this room where, of course, there's sewing wheels, and she pricks her finger. Now, when you're watching this movie or you're reading this book, of course, you're like, "Don't go in there! Don't go in there!" But what does she do? She goes in there. Okay, pricks her finger. Hence the concept Sleeping Beauty. She's sleeping, and there happens to be, of course, a handsome prince who has the opportunity to kiss the beautiful woman. And when he kisses her, she doesn't wake up. How is that possible? How is that possible? Because in the fairy tales, in the books, she wakes up. So Maleficent sets out to go get her, sets out to do anything that she can do to help her. And next thing you know, she's standing over the beautiful princess, and she's emotional. She's crying. We see another character, another concept in Maleficent, because what she did was wrong. She had to own up to her wrong. She had to own up to the fact that I allowed hate and bitterness and anger to force me to put a spell on you. And it broke her heart that she allowed that to happen. And as she leaned down and kissed her, the princess woke up. That was the true love concept. It doesn't have to be male and female, which is typical, but it could be a mother to her daughter, a daughter to her mother, siblings, siblings. I have a brother. He and I are very close. I will call him my first friend. I am the oldest sibling, and my brother's the youngest, but he's a little bit, he's much taller than me. But I truly, truly, truly love my brother. And if anything was ever to happen, of course, and he would do the same, we would be there for each other within a heartbeat. Okay. And there's godmother to godchild. It's that love. It's best friends. It's it's wherever that love is, whatever that love is coming from. And it was Maleficent's love and her owning up to her responsibility in this situation was she allowed that. So by that doing that, the spell was broken, and they was able to battle that evil king. I'm not even gonna tell you about the battle. You have to read it for yourself or go get that movie. But in that battle, love wins. And this was an awesome character, because here's the thing. When you're writing a character, you have to think of course, remember the name. I talked about that. You have to name them. You have to give them character traits. Maleficent was very, very beautiful. She was very, very tall, very, very strong, and she was very, very powerful. You have to also make them flawed. It was her anger and her bitterness that made her flawed, because she didn't have to go to that castle during that presentation and curse the baby. She just could have just accepted the rejection. Of course, nobody wants to, but accepted that rejection and just got on with her life. But she made the choice to not accept that rejection and be bitter and cast a spell on this innocent child. Also, the fact that she was a warrior, because no other fairies in their fairy kingdom can battle her. So she towered and triumphed over them. Now, it was for, of course, their protection, but she built a wall to keep them from getting out and for anyone to get in. And that sometimes is what we do, is when we're upset about something, we build a wall to keep anybody from getting out or anybody from getting in. And that can cause some major isolations that we just don't need. And we also see the breakdown of her character when she had to break the spell. And the characters of Aurora. Aurora was an independent young lady. Even though them three little fairy people to help take care of her, she was independent because she knew at the age of 16, this is what she wants to do. And she set out and did that. And even when she went back to her father to address her father, what is going on here? Why is some crazy fairy putting a spell on me? She was independent and she faced obstacles. She was not afraid to do that, which is awesome. Which is an awesome character trait to have. So you're writing that character, put that in your character trait to somebody who's not afraid to battle on the emotional level as well as a physical level. So this Maleficent, I'm gonna find out. I don't know actually who wrote it. Um, a Woman, adapted by Elizabeth Rudnick, based on the screenplay by Linda Wolverton. Executive producer, but this is a movie. Angelina Jolie, Dawn Hahn, Palik Patel, Matt Smith, and Sarah Bradshaw. So as you can see, awesome women put together this Disney movie based off of a story, Sleeping Beauty, and the backstory. It celebrates women. It celebrates forgiveness. It celebrates healing. It celebrates moving forward and rebuilding a family unit, family structure. So that's it for today. I'm going to be coming to you Saturday discussing some more awesome women. We may even read a couple books as well. I'm leaning on towards Jane Austen, and one of my favorites is Pride and Prejudice. Um, Elizabeth Bennet was quite a character. So tune